everyone. Thank you for joining me on my first ever Nail Professor video. I'm really excited to finally start sharing my information, what I've learned over the last 12 years of doing nails. My first video today is actually going to show you how to do something that maybe you think is relatively simple, but it's actually not, is doing your own gel soak off at home. There are some things that we should be able to do at home. And I think a gel removal safely and effectively is one thing that we should know. So I'm going to teach y'all how to do that. I do have loose glitter layered into gel polish on my nails, but it'll be just as simple to do the same procedure on a single color, for example, one solid single color application. So first off, the things that you will need, I like to use a small file, a small manicuring file that's relatively thin because it can get into some nooks and crannies. And then I'm going to show you something that I do with all of my laser cut files like this, because if you see here, it's so sharp right there, you know, that's just asking for trouble. These files are cut by machine, obviously, and so they're left with extremely sharp edges. So what you want to do is take your file and kind of drag it along the side right here, kind of like you can see, you can run your finger there, drag your file across a few times, touch it, check and see if it's dull enough. Again, you know, even run it a little fast across there, just to see, and then flip it, do the other side, whatever way you want to do it, I guess. Okay, so there we go. I know my clients, new clients who probably come in, look at me like I'm crazy, but listen, I'm saving your life here, okay? I like to use 100 grit coarse files to break off the seal of the top coat. It saves time. You have that. Then you want a spoon pusher. This is my always go-to tool. I always have a spoon pusher because when you go to push back the cuticle, it's already in that right shape there that you need to push it back to make a nice symmetrical kind of curve there. Or if the client, whatever shape they have, you can go along with it, okay? Plus, if it's a sharp edge, which obviously you always want to be careful with your tools and make sure they're not going to cut anybody, but I really like a sharp edge on here because I can use it to scrape off any excess gel. And then same thing with this one. I like this. I use this more for my pterygium scraping. It looks like a flathead screwdriver. Anyway, so same thing, I use that to just pull off any excess gel. Then you have your cotton balls, and then you have aluminum foil. Now, here's a trick with cotton. It always comes, unless you get it in the big bulk, you buy it in the drugstore or any retail store or any supply store mostly, you're gonna see that it's jumbled up like this in a ball, okay? So here's a little hack for the rest of your life. If you don't already know, you can loosen up the edges to find where that separates, and then you can roll it out into a long piece, and then you just make some small pieces there in your set. You're ready for that. Now what you also want is your acetone. You can put cuticle oil in it to give it some conditioning properties. I just have 100% pure acetone because it moves quicker, and I'm going to, throughout my service and at the end, I'm going to rebalance the skin with oil, cuticle oil, and lotions, and scrub, and bring the skin back to balance. First off, what you want to do is you always want to break the seal at the free edge, okay? So that means we're going to just run it across, and just don't even go hard into it because your client might not want to change their shape. They might be happy with their shape. But this is also a point where you can just kind of start to ease into that new shape. Like, for example, right here, I have a bit of a slant from using my own file and filing my own nail. So I'm just going to clear up that edge. This manicure has been on here for a week, and I've been working, so it's already unsealed at the edges. And for these purposes, I'm going to show you this way. Now, there's that, okay? Then I'll take my pusher and I'll push back just to free up any cuticle and any eponychium that might have come down while your nail was growing, because you know the skin is going to follow the cuticle. So you just kind of ease that up, edge it out, kind of separate it from the gel. Like sometimes you'll have clients who have come in from other places and the gel is on the skin, and so you got to free that up, okay? So push that eponychium back, shape it out a little bit, just a little bit, because you're going to shape it out later. And you, at this point, you don't want to be too aggressive on your nail because you're about to put it under some acetone for about 20 minutes. So you want to do everything very gently right now, okay? Next, you're going to break the seal on the top. Now this is really important because you don't want to go too far into the nail, but you also want to make sure that you're breaking the seal of that top coat. You know, because you don't want to file too far into the natural nail bed. That's what you want to always avoid at all costs. Okay, so you want to make the whole surface dull. Don't just like, unless you know from a certain manufacturer that they have a certain way of doing their removal, then follow that manufacturer. But here, if you just need a general, universal way of doing this, you got there. So you see, you can go back here by the eponychium. It's not going to hurt. It's just going to exfoliate the skin. Make it dull. Alright, good. No shiny spots, too much. You can see the shiny spots with glitter. Okay, so you're going to do that with the rest. So I like to do long, broad strokes. Because you've already dulled this file, you don't ever have to worry about any of your strokes cutting back here. So you want to file and buff the top. Okay, take the dust away so you can see any shine. Like, that's important. There are little things that you have to do to make sure, especially when you're doing this on a client. So broad strokes. And as you start to learn more, like on myself, I can feel where I'm going too far into my own skin when I'm doing my broad strokes. But as you go along in your nail tech career, you'll learn how to do that. And the best way to learn where other people's pain thresholds are, where their discomfort is, like it doesn't feel good to file all the way back here, so you don't want to do it too hard, you know? The best way to find that out is to practice on yourself. Like a lot of people ask me, well, do you always practice on everybody else? But no, I practiced on myself a lot at the beginning of my career, and that was how I tested out products. I used my own hands. I used one hand. Lots of times I'd only have one hand done and this hand would be bare. So, you know, practice on yourself. There you go. Take away the dust because that's important so you can see. So, take your cotton. I'm going to put a paper towel down so that I don't ruin my plexi here. You have your acetone. You want to saturate this cotton not to where it's dripping. You don't want any drips, okay? So if it's dripping, then you have too much. So squeeze it out a bit, put that there. Actually, let's do this one first. It might be easier and we'll go back and do the thumb later. So guys, this is how I do my soak-offs by myself. So then I use, you know, I put it on a flat surface and I put my cotton right there and then I flip this up and then I flatten it on the sides. The reason I do it this way is because it provides a little like cup, and your acetone is going to stay in there and it's not really going to seep out as much unless you've really saturated it. Then you're going to flip one side over, okay, and then flip the other side over, alright, and then give it a nice little pinch and then flatten it right there on the top so that that cotton comes into contact with the nail, okay? Now just do the rest of these. Now this is my way of doing this. Obviously, if you feel comfortable with another way, go ahead. I'm just showing you like how I like to do it and the reasons why, because you know it makes that cup so that you don't lose any acetone. All right? Yeah. So I'm gonna set my clock for 20 minutes, and here's why. Because the very first time I started doing gel, 20 minutes was the time frame. Like 20 minutes was the soak-off time. I mean, let's be real with you too. I know y'all are in such a hurry. There comes a time in life where you're gonna have to slow down, and soaking off your gel is one of them, even when you're in the salon. Don't rush this process. And as a client, don't rush your nail tech in this process. And as a nail tech, don't rush your client in this process either, both ways, because that's what leads to all of the flaking and the damage, and then all of the pitting in the nails. And then you have clients who are always constantly asking, well, and saying, well, to each other, well, gel is bad for your nails. Gel is bad, gel is bad, gel is bad. Listen, let's be real. If we find out in 10, 20 years from now that it is bad for us, okay. But right now, there is research out there that does say that it is okay. There are actually good references and resources out there. If you're ever interested, Doug Schoon is one of them. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's the foremost scientist out there for nails. You know, if that's the route that you want to go, definitely research and check all the information that you can out. Learn by trial and error, but that also helps to lessen that trial and error. So I'm gonna set my clock for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we'll see what happens, you know, where the state of it is after that. So if I have to go extra time, I will go extra time, because I want to preserve my canvas as much as possible. Keep the integrity of the nail. I'm not going to do any damage to it. That would be the most ridiculous thing as a preservationist of the nails, as a nail artist, you know? It's the same thing with hair. I mean, are you gonna constantly bleach it? No, after a while, your hairstylist is gonna be like, well, look, you know, we need to go in with some conditioning color for you, or you need a deep conditioning treatment. That's what you want to do with nails too, is you want to preserve your canvas. Preserve those 10 little tiny canvases and then the 10 toes, you know? So I'm really actually gonna leave this for 20 minutes. I'm not gonna get impatient. Sometimes in the salon, I'll admit, I go a little fast, because I know that if a client's in, like, let's say 2 weeks ago, I did a client's nails and their color was just one solid color all the way through the 10 fingers. And I know my technique, my style, obviously, and I know that I can wrap the 10 fingers, walk away for 5 minutes, and then I can come back and that gel is gonna be off. I can just take it off. You know, if you have any questions, please leave me questions, comments, concerns. I'll gladly answer. To the clients out there, you know, you now can take care of your nails at home, so you shorten a little bit of the time that it takes in the salon for you to have to sit there, and also for your nail tech to do your removal, if you know how to do this properly, effectively, and safely at home. And it is a thing you can do at home. It really absolutely is. I know sometimes you're just like, well, I don't have time for that, but you know, you can sit and watch like an episode of something on Netflix or on Hulu while your nails are just sitting here like this. I think the thing is, where the disconnect has been, is there hasn't really been anything out there to really explain the process to you and show you what's safe, what's not safe. So I'm gonna try my best to do that in every way that I can. So I realized I wasn't recording while I was showing that. At least I still have these fingers, and I can go back and show you and explain to you what I did here, okay? What I did here was, when I pulled off foil, it came off because, lo and behold, we waited the appropriate amount of time. We tried to rush this process, both client side and nail tech side, in the salon, which, it's just like, if you do that, let's all make an effort to stop doing that, huh? Okay, together, today on this video, let's all promise ourselves we're not going to rush the soak-off process, because it's actually extremely, extremely important, guys. It's funny, like, I feel energized even though I made that mistake. It feels good. You guys, if you've been holding out on doing something that you've been really scared about doing, do it. I was telling my friend last night, you know, the prescription for a broken heart, I've realized, is to take the thing that you're scared of doing the most and do it. And I did it the other night. I posted my first Instagram Live. I even cried like a baby on it. And here I am now, making my very first ever video and enjoying it so much. Okay, so these two I took off, and I wasn't recording at the time, so here are some fresh ones still. So I'm gonna show you this one. Okay, so we're just gonna rub it off a little bit, and look, oh my god, guys, seriously, look at all that came off, because we waited the right amount of time. Nothing's on there at all, even down to the base coat. And look, that's not scary. Don't be scared. I am not taking off any layer of nail. And listen, I'm just going to say the word scrape, okay? Scrape that off. That's product that came off. The areas that did not come off or look scratchy, that was your natural nail. That's how you can tell when you still have something left on the natural nail. It's white and streaky and dry. And then the areas that don't look like healthy shiny nail, or in some cases you got to be careful if you have a client who's been going to the wrong type of nail tech for the longest time until they finally found you as a great nail tech that you are. You might see a lot of damage underneath there. You don't see it on here because I do take care of my nails because I'm a nail tech. Okay? So let's just kind of work that off there. Look, another one. Now if you still see this shine and you see how I'm taking that and you see that, that's still product and that's okay. So what you want to do is saturate a cotton ball, get that wet and saturate it again, and go ahead and take your thing off. So what you want to make sure is how gentle you want to treat the nail. You want to treat it like it's your favorite pair of Louboutins and you got some gum stuck on it and you're trying to get that off of there with as gently as you can. You're just trying to, you got that peanut butter or whatever oily substance and you're working it off. That's kind of how you want to treat the nails, okay? You want to get and work off all of that product without digging into the nail, without going too far. Now as you work with product and you become more experienced, you're gonna know. Just don't worry. Don't beat yourself up now. Just learn. You're gonna realize and learn how the product works, especially once you start finding a product that you love and that you start working with and becoming comfortable with. You know how it's gonna work, you know how it's gonna react, you know how it's gonna soak off. Boom, bam, done, you know? Okay, so then here's the thumb. Let's see the big reveal, right? Alright, so we've got still some product on there, which is fine. Just bring off any of that product, okay? You're gonna feel how easy it comes off when you do it. And if you ever have any questions, DM me on Instagram at The Nail Professor. Follow me. Ask me questions because I want to answer your questions. I want to be a resource for you. I was very fortunate to have a mentor when I first started and then more mentors along the way. And so I want to try and help that with you because I know how hard it is to find. I was fortunate to find some. Here is me giving it back to you. Everything I learned. So here we go. Everything is off of there. I'm even just gently trying to get any product off with my nail, and you see no white like scratchiness because that's the natural nail. We have achieved natural nail. Now it does look pink because it looks like maybe the color that I used as my base underneath that glitter, it was a pink. That color probably just had natural staining to it. Some gels actually do still stain. Okay, there's that other one. Okay, we have a little bit left here in the corner. Just run your tool right around that. Okay, because maybe I didn't file down deep enough to break the seal there. That might have been why that happened. You see, but you see the white residue coming off? There you go. You run back over it just to ensure there's nothing there, and look, nothing. You can feel the natural nail. You can see the natural nail. You can see that you haven't dug too far, and I'll actually use just my nail sometimes just to make sure and ensure that there is natural nail. I won't go all the way so far as to scrape everything off, you know, with my nail, so I'll actually use my tool. Then go back over, do a little test. Good. We are good because anything that is at this level that is still on the nail is going to be buffed off and filed off in your manicure. Okay? So don't worry. The one time you want to worry is when you still see shininess because you can tell the shininess is still the product. So that might still be base coat that's left on there. Now you see the way my nails look. The cuticle is grown. This is normal that you're going to see when your client comes back in. This is all normal stuff. The body is constantly producing new cells and constantly producing new skin. The cuticle is what protects us from any, it's based on the cuticle on our toes and our hands. Guys, it's so important. You don't understand this. It is the layer in between our bodies that seals to keep us sealed up from anything getting in. That's important stuff. You don't want to mess with that and do too much damage up to here. These are the entrances to our bodies, guys. Same thing. Look, voila. Anything that you have left in products just gonna come off. It's just gonna come off so easily. Just barely even take that off. You want to do it like as gently as if you were doing this right on your skin, okay? Same thing with the nail. Do not treat the nail just because it seems like a harder surface. You're not going to treat it like it's something as hard as like wood or plastic. No, no, that's craziness, okay? There you have it. Thank you so much for watching my first video on my channel. I really hope it was helpful. I hope that I can actually put more on here. I'm so excited to give you guys so much content and share our knowledge, which is just so important to me. And I really thank you guys. I'm humbled by everyone who did join me on my first Insta Live video, everyone who watched. I'm very humbled that you guys watched and all of your feedback that came back to me. Definitely leave me feedback on this. Thank you again. This has been quite a journey for me, and I'm so glad I get to finally share this with you. Thank you.